Welcome to installing Megatouch ION 2014 onto a virtual machine, part 5. In this video, we will finally finish the tweaks that are needed to install it onto a virtual machine, and I'll show you how to add basically your own hardware configurations for newer hardware. In this case, I do it using VMware, but you could use it for real hardware. We left off in the last video at this screen where the system is rebooting because it can't find the hardware. It can't find the I/O board and it can't find the motherboard. And it's very angry and is rebooting. So I will show you how to add support for new hardware and let it configure the thing so it detects it. So the first thing we need to do is boot into single user mode. What we need to do is power on the virtual machine and hit tab real fast when it boots. And then we'll get to this screen. We'll hit the up arrow, enter, go down, hit E and then type S, hit enter, and then B. That is going to boot the system into single user mode, which will allow us to get access to the system, the console, and not constantly reboot. Okay, so now we have access to the console. What we're going to do here is we're going to edit the important files that help it do its startup and hardware detection. So first type this, mount -o rw remount /. And then we're going to make a directory mmt/temp. We're going to use this directory to mount the CD-ROM installer disk, which has our video drivers. So we do the mount dev CD-ROM to mmt temp, CD into there. And now we are going to CD to this ISO Linux directory, and this init.rd file has those files that we need, but we need to extract it. So make dir mmt extracted, CD into there, and type this command, cat mmt temp ISO Linux init.rd pipe gzip -d pipe cpio -i, and that will extract the files from the installer disk, and we can cd to userlib xorg and modules drivers, and then we can go ahead and just copy those files from the extracted directory into the root of our file system. So we're going to just do this copy command here. And that will put those drivers that we added to the installer image into the actual other image, because the installer image didn't actually copy those drivers in. We just had to copy that so the installer itself would run. The installer process actually just basically does hard drive imaging to unpack some pre-imaged hard drive partition images. So once that's done, we can unmount that file system that we just mounted, the CD-ROM. I'm going to type sync. You don't need to do that. It just makes sure the disks get flushed, and then we're going to shut down. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually create a snapshot of what the system looks like with now that I've installed those drivers, so I can always revert back and not go through the whole process again. You'll see in the rest of this video, these snapshots are really, really useful. They allow you to instantly revert back to the way your system was at any given time. Now with that snapshot made, we're just going to let the system boot, but we're going to boot into single user mode like we did before, so we can edit the hardware detection files and add our VMware virtual hardware. Great, so now we have our shell. Let's begin. Let's move into this directory, etcrc.d, rc5.d, and we look at this file, S50 merit hardware check. we'll see it runs this program harddetect. And this is what configures the hardware. And hardware detect uses this hardware detect utils.sh file. And if you look at that, you can see the database file where those hardware settings are defined. Now, harddetect is basically a program that just parses the output of either LSPCI or LSUSB, which are Linux commands that tell you what type of hardware you have, either PCI-based hardware or USB-based hardware. And it determines what hardware you will have, and then it modifies a system config using scripts to set up things for that hardware. It uses a file called user local game data config harddetect.xml as its database to match what you find in LSPCI and LSUSB with what hardware it knows about. So we're going to edit that file and add in our own hardware entries. Okay, so let's go back to our shell and start editing these files such that they understand what hardware we have. So the first thing we have to do is actually determine which hardware we have. So it's going to use the command lspci to search through the hardware and match it with the database file, that XML file. So let's type lspci ourselves. Oops, lspci, not ls. Okay, so what we have here is, let's see what we have. When we do this, we see we have the PCI bridge is Intel Corporation 440BX ZXDX. Let's write that down. That will be our PCI and our motherboard determinator. The controller, the video card, is the VMware Inc. Abstract SVGA controller or adapter, SVGA2. So let's go ahead and put that in there. We'll remember that. And then we'll have Ethernet controller is AMD 796970. And then we have this Ensoniq video card or sound card. So let's go and put those things in there. Now let's go to let's mount -o rewrite remount / user local game data config harddetect.xml. Let's edit that file, and let's add our own hardware platforms in here and things. So here we go. We're gonna we're gonna cut and paste this one and then change it. So the bus is PCI, that means it's gonna read the LSPCI file. Hardware, let's call it VM rather than force. Let's call it VMware. And let's just edit this PCI bridge to be Intel Corporation 440BX ZXDX. And then platform hardware, that's going to be ION. Let's platform ION. Okay, good. So, and then we're going to just put in a default, we don't have an IO board, so we're going to put in our default IO board as, okay, so ID, we want IO board FX2, and then we're going to put the thing in here that says processor equals FX2. I don't know why this motherboard section is in here again. That's really odd. Did someone type that in wrong? Type that in twice? I don't know. I'm just going to take the, just in case, I'm going to go ahead and just comment this out. I don't think this is needed. I think whoever the developers were, typed that in twice. I don't know though. There may be some reason they did that. I don't see any reasonable reason. So I'm just going to comment that out. Network, let's put in our network card. And we'll do, let's copy one of these ones. Network PCI ID, we're going to call it VMware NIC. Match Ethernet controller. What was it? I'm just going to actually get rid of the whole Ethernet controller. I'm just going to do this. It's a short, I don't feel like typing the whole thing in. 79C970. Great. Wireless, we don't have a wireless, and that's fine. I don't think it's going to care about that. What the? How is this motherboard category back here again? Oh, that was hardware platform. Okay, that's the motherboard. So let's get rid of, we want to actually put this in here. We want to put Yeah, we want to put a motherboard entry in here. I'm sorry. So, because that was a hardware. That was the not the motherboard that we added up here. That was a hardware platform. But they do add the motherboard section in twice, and I don't know why. So motherboard PCI. Well, let's do this. VMware.mb for a motherboard, and again, Intel Corporation. We had. It was Intel Corporation, what was it? 440BX, ZX, DX. And we did the Ethernet controller, the sound. I think we did the sound. Did we do the sound? No, we didn't do the sound yet. So let's do that. The network, I want to just go back here. I did something wrong here. Match AMD PCI. Yeah, we're not going to put a module in there yet because we don't have the drivers in there. We'll have to actually get the drivers off of the CentOS CD and put them in there, but we'll do that later. We don't really need the network. Okay, so we got network. All right, wireless we don't care about. Now here's our motherboard section again. I don't know why this is in here twice. So we're just going to comment it out. Hopefully nothing will break too bad. Okay, now we have to do our sound. So let's put a sound card in there. Let's put ID VMware sound, match audio device. Let's do Insonic ES1371. Hopefully that will work. And yeah, we'll get our motherboard in there. Video PCI, platform ION, ID VMware video, match, oops, oh no, I don't want to do that. Oh, what did I do? Okay, let's do that then. Take that out again. Video, ION, VMware video, match, and the video card was VMware Inc. Abstract SVGA 2. And the driver is maybe VMware and DR. I actually can do DRI, so we'll leave that on there. So we have that. Now there's one other thing we're going to do. We have to edit. There's a file. That's the X11 xorg CD. That's the X11 or xorg.template. We have to actually add a card here. So we're doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 dB for a card for the VMware card. Did I add that as a VMware card up there? Driver VMware. I want to make sure that I named the card identifier VMware card. Oh no, I did. Okay, yeah, I think. All right, now what I'm going to do real quick is, because I don't like rebooting this thing all the time, I'm going to take a snapshot of it. Take snapshot of after it editing harddetect.xml. That way, if I screw up, I can just go back to this real quick. All right, so now let's exit, or let's type exit. And theoretically, it looks like it found all that stuff. Good. Hardware, VMware, motherboard, microtouch figuring, rebooting. That detected new hardware. And so now let's just see what happens. Hopefully this will work. Okay, it's checking clear. We might have to turn that off. I think that will eventually time out. But that is trying to actually communicate with the, there it goes. All right, and now we have cannot access IO board, which is better than we had, which is good. We had that before. Okay, so now we can get past that screen. I can just skip that check. So we're gonna go ahead and skip that check and see what happens. So I'm just gonna go back into my VMware and restore the snapshot so that I don't have to go through that whole thing again. We'll have to get probably one reboot because it's gotta detect the hardware. The thing that's causing that pop-up message is this S70 Merit 2 clear. It's trying to contact the IO board, and let's just get rid of that. So check config level 5. This is how you turn things off in CentOS. At least CentOS, this version of CentOS. Or I'm sorry, you just notify Merit to clear off. And now that file should disappear. So there's no more S70. Okay. And now we can exit. And let's see what happens. It's going to have to reboot. I'm going to pause here and we'll just resume when it reboots. Okay, so now it looks like it's starting. Oh, and we have a core dump on this sound system thing. Okay, well, let's fix that. Let's go ahead and restore. Okay, and now we're going to use etcrc.5.d. And because we restored, the fact that we got rid of we check config the Merit to clear off is no longer here. It's still on. So we're going to do that again. Check config level 5, Merit to clear off. And then the thing that's crashing is that Merit sound, because we haven't configured our sound. I don't think we have the drivers in there. Level 5. So let's just Merit sound off. Okay. So that's no longer a start. And okay, great. So now let's go ahead and I'm actually going to snapshot this bad boy again. Take snapshot after editing startup sequence. So you can see VMware is really cool for messing with things because you can just revert back to wherever you were and don't have to go through whole long processes. So we'll do that and we'll exit. Oops. Oh, it's the open sound system that was crashing. All right. Let's go ahead and revert to that snapshot again. Let's do check config level 5 OSS off. So now, once again, let's snapshot this thing. Take snapshot, turned off OSS service. Take snapshot and exit. Try again. And it is not starting up. So I think maybe our graphics are not working. So let's go ahead and see what's going on with that. I thought we had the graphics working. I'm going to just reset this guy. Edit, S, boot. It's possible that maybe I didn't fix that graphics card file, that xorg.conf file right, or something like that. You can see this is a lot of trial and error. But VMware makes it easy. Making those snapshots is just amazing because you can restore back to parts that took a long time to do things. Okay, so to check the graphics, just type X. Oh, and yep. So it says VMware video card referenced not right. Okay, that's the problem. All right. So when I edit the file, I did it's VMware video card rather than VMware. So I actually have to edit. Let's see, X11. Yeah, we're going to remove the old xorg.conf. Oops. What was I doing? Mount minus O, remount, W, remount. Okay, we're going to move xorg.conf so it has to recreate it. vi xorg.temp. And we have to create a VMware video card section. So I put VMware card. So it's going to be VMware video card. Let's try X again. That worked. And then we're just going to go ahead and reset this thing because that should have worked. And so now the video should work. I thought it worked before, it did not. I guess the that screen that was telling us we have no I/O board was not actually using the graphics display. It was just using probably what's called a frame buffer. It wasn't using the whole graphical subsystem that Linux provides. Hooray, it's loading. Now you should be able to use the same method of editing those files and creating your own ISO to use that to update, to install on newer motherboards. I don't know why it said force hardware there. I have to look into that. You are going to have this problem though, that the touchscreen's not there. So, but you could actually use this process probably to add support for newer motherboards. And you would probably have to get the audio drivers and the video drivers from the CentOS distribution like we did way back when. But cool, enjoy.